to the Dunlop Radical Championship for the last time this year. The final round of the season takes place here at Donington Park on the 2-mile-long national circuit, popular but a sometimes tricky layout.
I love Donington. It's one of my favourite circuits, especially in this country. And you know, obviously we had a bit of rain this morning. This circuit, for some reason, is extremely slippery. So I much prefer it in the dry, but it's a challenge in the wet also. Coming up to 5th gear along the straight, approaching speeds up to 140 miles an hour. Coming into Redgate, a very late brake down to 3rd gear. We'll be coming down kind of curves in 5th gear to the old hairpin where we'll be going down 2 gears. Up towards McLean through the fast left before you approach. Will be also flat down into 3rd gear, trying to get a nice clean exit up to Coppice. Back down to 1 gear through 4 through there, and also you need to be getting on the power very, very early to obviously carry that straight line speed all the way down back to Gollards, where you need to be braking extremely late. Back down to 2nd gears, up to 4 gears, and then just getting it, keeping it nice and tidy through the chicane before entering the start-finish straight again.
The Dunlop Radical Enduro Series is split into 2 categories: the SR3 sports cars powered by Suzuki 1500s and the much quicker SR8 sports cars which run on V8s. It's a Le Mans style event with driver changeovers halfway through the race, and at the moment the title's being contested by 2 men, James Richardson in car number 30 and in number 31 Nigel Redwood, who needs things to go his way if he's to lift the crown.
You know, it's been a long season. We had a poor start and we've done well to take it to the last race of the last meeting of the season. So there's 34 points in it, so really we need to win both and hope they have a DNF or 2 poor results. So all we can do is keep going.
The cars line up for the opening race of the day, the Dunlop Radical Enduro Championship. On pole position, it's Richard Ince. Alongside him is Austin Reynolds. They're in the more powerful SR8 cars. On row 2, Lee Atkins in the chair. His partner Phil Quaife will take over halfway through this race, giving him some final words and some final thoughts. This is the grid. Richard Ince on pole, Austin Reynolds alongside him. On row 2, it's Lee Atkins and Derek Johnson. Row 3, Nick Dove and Steve Jones. Then row 4, the quickest of the SR3s, that's Nigel Redwood. He'll get the first stint underway. Alongside him is Duncan Williams. Row 5, it's Zwart and James Richardson, the man who leads the championship. Row 6, Chris Milner and Ben Jackson. And then on row 7, James Patterson and James Swift. Well, the lights have gone out. It's a rolling start. And who is going to be first into Redgate? Richard Ince on the inside, and we're on board with Lee Atkins. He's going to be third, is he? It's Ince that certainly goes through first. Oh, Lee Atkins pushes Austin Reynolds out of the way. Oh, there's contact there as well. Car number 13. That is Derek Johnston. Out of Craner curves into the old hairpin. Richard Ince still leads, but let's check out again. Johnston nearly collects one of the SR8s. So a new nose for Derek Johnston, and it looks like it could be the nose of car number 2, Nick Dove. But it's Lee Atkins who leads. Phil Quaife, very interested. 21, that was Chris Milner who's out. Nigel Redwood trying to make a move on Austin Reynolds. Nigel Redwood leading the SR3 class, and he needs a win, and he also needs James Richardson to be way down the order as well. 27 goes out Ben Jackson. Ben Jackson at Hollywood. Nigel Redwood, well, the SR3 car is slower than the SR8, but you wouldn't think so judging on this performance from Redwood. He really is the man in form. Lee Atkins opening up an advantage with each lap. He's doing around 2 seconds a lap quicker than anyone else. We're on board with Lee Atkins now as we come down the world-famous Craner curves. Oh, smoking! Lee Atkins has got smoke there. Has he got a problem? He has got a fiery problem. So disaster for Lee Atkins. The pairing of Atkins and Quaife have been leading SR8 all season. So Lee Atkins is out. And who knows what causes that? Maybe an oil pump. But Lee Atkins quick to get out of the SR8. And he's going to have to do it all over again in race 2. So a new race leader then. Nick Dove in car number 2, Richard Ince in car number 3. So it's a really close battle at the top. Well, Phil Quaife wondering what's been going on. No drive for him in this race as we have a new race leader. Nick Dove goes through at Redgate. Time for the changeover. And it's Phil Abbott who'll take over control of the lead car from Nick Dove. These two can catch Phil Quaife and Lee Atkins in the SR8 standings and can end the year as the top SR8 crew. Phil Abbott gets into the chair. Let's hear then from Nick Dove. He's completed his stint. Let's see what he's got to say.
Yeah, it was going quite well. A bit hairy at the start, so basically, you know, cold tyres and lots of action. But yeah, it was a good run.
Austin Reynolds, he gets out. It's not been a good day for him so far. In fact, that could be it, is it? Or Nick Padmore could be going out. Now, don't be confused on the number 2 that's coming into view. That's actually Derek Johnston. And there is the real number 2, Phil Abbott, trying to pull in Austin Kinsella in car number 3. Here is Austin Kinsella, race leader. Well, we've had some race leaders already so far today. Alex Mortimer doing a sterling job then for Nigel Redwood. Mortimer having taken over from Redwood. But it looks as if it's going to be an overall victory for Austin Kinsella. Out comes the checkered flag, indeed it is. So Austin Kinsella wins, Abbott will be second and Mortimer third.
Nigel Redwood's third place keeps his title hopes alive, but they're slim as James Richardson finishes fourth. Abbott and Dove's second place could help them end the year as top SR8 crew, but the race winners are Ince and Kinsella.
You left it not much work to do for me at the end, so just get it home.
Same again for the next race?
Hopefully, you know, we've had some bad reliability in the early part of the season, but the car's running well now, and we've had, I think this is six finishes on the trot, on the podium, so you know, we're pleased and try and finish the season on a high.
We switch our attention to the Dunlop Radical Biduro Championship. The competitors use SR4 sports cars powered by 1200cc motorcycle engines with about 190 brake horsepower. At the last round at Spa in Belgium, Guy Hodgkin closed the gap on series leader James Saggers to ensure there's a two-way fight for the title here at Donington Park.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of an advantage. We've got a bit of a safety net, so racing's racing, anything can happen, so I've got to keep my eye on the ball and the most of it.
The two men who lead the championship are the two men that sit on the front row of this race, James Saggers and Guy Hodgkin. Saggers, who has pole position as we look at the grid. Alongside him, Guy Hodgkin. Then it's Jake Greaves and Toby Newton on row 2. Row 3, Daniel Rowbottom and Terence Woodward. Malcolm Barnett, he's won a couple of races lately. He's on row 4 alongside Duncan Williams, Mark Parle and Roger Bromley, Jonathan Wright and John Hewitt, and Chris Henderby and Paul Steele on row 7. Well, Terence Woodward is car 88. He's getting his tyres changed as well. The rain's out. So many cars have dived in. If you look at the right-hand side of the picture, certainly not Hodgkin and Saggers. Now, whether that's going to pay off, we'll have to see. Now, Hodgkin, blinding start from him. There is rain falling, and all these cars are on slick tyres. So it's Hodgkin that's going to gingerly lead into Redgate. Saggers goes up into second. Car 67 is Jacob Greaves. Oh, and already you can see how little traction there is as somebody spins. Now, whether this will be a wise decision or not remains to be seen. Guy Hodgkin and James Saggers are leading. Jacob Greaves is in third place. And already, Jacob Greaves loses a position as we look at James Saggers. Rows 3, 4 and 5, I think all of them dived in to put on wet tyres, as Guy Hodgkin proves. And I think we're going to see them come in at the end of this lap. Great start though for John Hewitt. He was on row 6. He has moved up into 5th place. But it's going to be interesting once everybody that has got wet tyres on rejoins this race. 14 is Roger Bromley. He has gone in for tyres. Here is that moment for Guy Hodgkin again. That's nearly the moment he threw away the championship. Malcolm Barnett has a full set of wet tyres as he goes out. It's still not quite raining. It's certainly wet, and as we've seen so far, it's very, very greasy. So what will the guys with wet tyres do against people like Guy Hodgkin? Really is taking his time, and rightly so. And he's not coming in, Guy Hodgkin, and Saggers isn't coming in either. Oh, someone has gone in. Well, that's 50 and 23. Toby Newton and John Hewitt said enough is enough, but Hodgkin and Saggers, well, I don't know what could be going through their minds. But here is car number 32. That is somebody that has got wet tyres on, so already he's made up the difference. That is Daniel Rowbottom. Daniel Rowbottom is closing in on James Saggers. Saggers must be thinking about a tyre change, but then again, Guy Hodgkin could chuck it all away. So up into second place is the man on full wets, and here's another man on full wets. That's Malcolm Barnett as we go into the chicane. Even with full wets in these tricky conditions, oh, 33 going all sideways. That's Jonathan Wright. So even with full wets, conditions are still not, well, certainly not so much grip, and we can see the rain is coming down. And here is Roger Bromley. He has also got full wets, but it's not done him any good. So certainly, oh, he's got away with that one. Malcolm Barnett down towards the old hairpin, past Jonathan Wright. It is very, very greasy out there, judging by the way these cars are handling. So Malcolm Barnett moves up. But already, oh, Saggers thinking about going through on Guy Hodgkin. Oh, that is a brave move, a very bold decision by James Saggers. It's going to be this man who wins. Nobody to touch him in this race. Daniel Rowbottom. Roger Bromley, he is in second. Here comes then the race winner, number 32, Daniel Rowbottom. Bromley will be second, and James Saggers and Guy Hodgkin third and fourth. What a race.
A stunning display by both title contenders, despite both men racing on slick tyres in wet conditions. That result means the title will be decided in the last race, with Saggers still very much the favourite, and it was a good win too for Rowbottom.
I came in the pit lane, as I said, over there. My seatbelt was rattling in the side, and I couldn't drive without it. It was absolutely doing my head in, so I pulled in. It started to rain, and it was really slippy on the roll-up lap, so we bolted the wets on. I saw Roger Bromley also came in and bolted the wets on, so I thought we might have a bit of a tangle. But fortunately at the start I managed to get away from Roger and just chill out for the rest of the race, really.
Time now for the second Dunlop Radical Enduro race.
There is a championship to be won, and it will be won in this race. In pole position, that's Richard Ince. He'll hand over to Kinsella later on. Alongside him is Nick Padmore, who'll hand over to Austin Reynolds. 13, Derek Johnston. He's on row 2. Car 65 is Steve Jones. Here is how they line up then. Ince and Padmore on row 1, they'll get this race underway. Quaife and Johnston on row 2, Nick Dove and Steve Jones on row 3. Then it's Nigel Redwood and Eric Swart on row 4. James Richardson, who leads the overall championship, on row 5, alongside Duncan Williams. Eugene O'Brien and Ben Jackson on row 6. James Patterson and John Stanley, they're on row 7. The lights go out then, and it looks as if it's going to be a great start again from Richard Ince, but certainly conditions a lot different to race 1. Oh, 2 abreast into Redgate, Ince and Padmore. It's going to be Ince that leads. Padmore is second. That is car 88, Eric Swart. Good start from him. And it's going to be hellish for all the drivers to try and see through all the spray. And Padmore, Nick Padmore has gotten through on Richard Ince, so Nick Padmore has got the best place on this racetrack. He's going to lead. In fact, he is leading as they go under Starkeys. Well, no race for Quaife and Atkins or for Car 2, Nick Dove and Phil Abbott. Over the line they come to complete lap 1. Oh, number 88 goes out. So disaster for Eric Swart at the chicane. He's lucky not to get collected. 46, that's Ross Edwards. Closely followed by Ben Jackson in car 27. Oh, now then, James Richardson's in. So maybe a problem with... No, in fact, that could be more than just a tyre. So James Richardson, he needs to score points. Otherwise, Nigel Redwood could win this championship as we look at the race leader. Austin Kinsella prepares to take over from Richard Ince. There goes Nigel Redwood. Into the car goes Alex Mortimer. Alex can't win the championship, but Nigel certainly can. Still leading is car 28, Nick Padmore. In comes Richard Ince. Austin Kinsella will take over. That's Nick Foster's car. Austin Reynolds prepares to do battle, not only with the rest of the field, but with the conditions as well. Nick Padmore has done his job. That is Nick Padmore. Let's see if we can get a quick word with him.
It was really bad. Every lap's getting worse and worse. It's wheel spinning like down here. It's crazy, but I tried as hard as I could. So we'll see now. Austin's got a fair old job to do because it is really bad. So fingers crossed, you know, we can have our first win this year. It'd be good.
Alex Mortimer then. It looks as if he's going to secure the crown possibly for Nigel Redwood. He really, really has done so well in the SR3. Seen off all the more powerful SR8s. 28 Austin Reynolds. But it's going to be Alex Mortimer who's going to take the checkered flag, and SR3 wins the race. It's now time to do the maths and see if Nigel Redwood has indeed won the Radical Championship.
The final Radical Enduro race of the season, and arguably the most dramatic of the entire campaign. Victory there ultimately going to Alex Mortimer and, more importantly, Nigel Redwood.
It was just about keeping it clean in the first couple of laps. I mean, the first lap was just atrocious, couldn't see much at all. It was really just using your peripheral vision to try and pick a braking point, and got through the first couple of laps, and it was just about getting into a rhythm. So I'm not sure whether we've done enough to win the championship, but we've done certainly all we can.
Well, he has done enough, but only just. James Richardson failed to complete 80% of the race, so therefore he doesn't score any points, and they finish the year on equal scores, but Redwood is champion as he has won more races. Now we switch to the Biduro series and a circuit that is running with water.
Full wets then is the order of the day for the second Dunlop Radical Biduro race. Guy Hodgkin in pole, James Saggers alongside him. It's between them two still for the title. It's stacked heavily towards James Saggers as we look through the grid. Jacob Greaves and Malcolm Barnett on row 2. Row 3, Toby Newton and Daniel Rowbottom, the race 1 winner. On row 4 is Mark Pyle and Terence Woodward. Row 5, Duncan Williams and Jonathan Wright. Row 6, John Hewitt and Roger Bromley, and Chris Enderby and Paul Steele are on row 7. We wait for the lights to go. Hodgkin is away. Saggers, oh, poor start from him. We're on board with Malcolm Barnett. So Saggers, I think we've seen this before from Saggers. Oh, the collision there as well. It looks like Daniel Rowbottom's connected with somebody. As they go round Redgate, everybody seems through, and look how far back James Saggers is off row 1. So Guy Hodgkin leads, Malcolm Barnett is second. Oh, Hodgkin, where's he going? Hodgkin is going backwards down Craner curves. He's got to avoid the gravel. Disaster for Guy Hodgkin. He needed a win, and he's not going to get it now. So that really, as we look now at what happened, we're on board with Malcolm Barnett. There goes Hodgkin. Barnett as well must have had his heart in his mouth, making sure he didn't get collected. 32, Daniel Rowbottom went so well in the wet in race 1. Into the chicane, not for Daniel Rowbottom though, he's gone straight on, there's nothing for him to hit, so yeah, there he is. Daniel Rowbottom going straight on. Malcolm Barnett though, again leads race 2 this season. He's won the last 2 as we look at number 50, Toby Newton, and number 55, that's Duncan Williams. Malcolm Barnett, he won the second race at Spa. He has a moment. He won the second race at Croft. What he tends to do is use his practice tyres, his qualifying tyres in race 1. And he's brand new as Roger Bromley goes off as well. Oh, he saves it. He should keep going. Malcolm Barnett saves his race tyres for the second race, but they're all on wets this time around. But there's the man who's going to win the championship, James Saggers. He's down in around 10th place right now. Malcolm Barnett's going to win the race. His third win of the season. Over the line he goes, so Malcolm Barnett wins. But James Saggers is going to take the title as long as nothing goes wrong. And here comes James Saggers into the chicane for the last time.
Malcolm Barnett makes it a trio of victories for the season, all coming in the last 3 meetings of the year.